You once believed that silence was the choice of the strong, the refuge of those mature enough to rise above petty battles. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself why the more you stay quiet, the weaker you feel inside? There are conflicts you choose not to fight, conversations you avoid to keep the peace, battles you silently withdraw from, convinced you're the wiser one for stepping away. Yet, in those very moments, have you ever sensed you're losing parts of yourself bit by bit, slipping further into an emptiness you never intended to create? Silence can feel safe. It can feel like armor, a quiet fortress built around your heart, shielding you from rejection, misunderstanding, or confrontation. But what if that same fortress is slowly becoming your prison? What if the silence you've carefully crafted isn't protecting you, but instead quietly poisoning your soul, draining away the freedom you've always yearned for? Think about the last time you held your words inside when your heart begged you to speak. Did that silence truly grant you peace, or did it leave you feeling trapped, restless, and hollow inside? Has this quietness truly protected you, or has it only distanced you from who you really are? The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once warned us, silence in the face of injustice is not neutrality, it's complicity. Could it be that every moment you remain silent, you're not just avoiding conflict, but quietly participating in your own oppression? Maybe it's time to reconsider whether this silence you've embraced is genuinely yours, or merely a habit you've inherited, an illusion of harmony masking deeper wounds. Because true peace isn't found in avoiding your truth. It's found in having the courage to reclaim it. You might believe silence reflects strength, but behind your quiet smiles and unspoken words lies a hidden truth. It's not courage that holds your tongue, but fear, the fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of conflict. Each word you've swallowed, every truth you haven't spoken, wasn't strength, it was surrender. How many times have you found yourself quietly agreeing to something your heart resisted, nodding softly when you wanted to shake your head, simply because you couldn't bear being misunderstood or pushed away? This fear isn't your fault, it's deeply rooted. You learned early on that speaking your truth risks rejection, isolation, or confrontation. And so silence became your armor. You wore it as your persona, your social mask, crafted carefully to blend in, to appear agreeable, to keep the peace. But here's the irony. Every moment you wear this mask, it takes you further away from yourself. You hide behind silence, believing it will shield you, but in reality, it strips away your authenticity and leaves you feeling weaker, emptier, and increasingly disconnected from who you truly are. Imagine this, a quiet morning, much like any other. Sarah wakes up, sits at her desk, staring blankly at the flood of unanswered emails. Each message feels heavy, filled with expectations she didn't agree to, tasks she quietly accepted because saying no felt too confrontational. Throughout the day, colleagues casually push responsibilities onto her shoulders, knowing she'll silently accept. And she does. Again and again. At lunch, she listens to conversations she disagrees with deeply, opinions that conflict with her core values, but she remains silent, nodding politely, hiding her true thoughts beneath a pleasant smile. By evening, Sarah returns home drained, a quiet ache inside. She wonders why she's tired despite barely saying a word all day. Her throat feels tight, filled with the words she never spoke. She scrolls mindlessly through her phone, silently agreeing with everyone else's version of life, and feels a slow, familiar emptiness consume her. In those quiet hours before sleep, she lies awake, replaying conversations, imagining all the responses she didn't give, words that burn inside but never find release. Does this quiet existence truly feel peaceful? Or is it quietly eroding her spirit? This constant suppression isn't harmless. It leaves a mark. When you choose silence over authenticity, when you refuse to express your real thoughts and feelings, Your unspoken words don't vanish. Instead, they accumulate deep within, turning into a hidden poison: resentment. Silence might feel safe in the moment, but it's like a steady drip of water quietly filling a cup, drop by silent drop, until one day it overflows, spilling bitterness and frustration everywhere. Think about those sleepless nights spent replaying conversations, crafting perfect responses you never actually deliver. Those arguments fought solely within your mind, imaginary confrontations you rehearse endlessly but never initiate. Do they vanish when morning comes? Or do they linger in the shadows, stored in your personal unconscious, that hidden space within you where suppressed pain quietly collects, shaping your reactions, emotions, and choices without your awareness? This is resentment's quiet power, subtle yet relentless, silently robbing you of joy and peace. It whispers softly in your ears that you're misunderstood, unappreciated, forgotten. Yet you remain quiet, letting it grow stronger each day, not realizing your silence is its greatest ally. But what if silence isn't the only choice? What if there's another way? One that might feel uncomfortable at first, but holds the promise of genuine freedom. What if, instead of avoiding conflict, you decided to face it directly, not to overpower or defeat others, but to reclaim yourself? Here's the truth you've always known deep down, but perhaps never fully embraced. When you speak your truth clearly and calmly, something transformative happens, not necessarily in others, but profoundly within you. Facing conflict isn't about winning arguments. It's about rediscovering your authentic voice, your inner strength, your true identity. It's about recognizing that the only person you truly need to stop betraying is yourself. Picture it as a door that you've kept tightly shut for years, believing safety exists behind its locked barrier. But what if, by finally opening that door, you discover an expansive, endless sky stretching before you, a space where your genuine self can breathe, move, and live freely? Until you dare open that door, you'll never realize how confined your silent world has become. This process isn't merely about finding courage. It's about a profound journey of individuation, a concept Carl Jung gently described as the lifelong task of becoming who you truly are, embracing both your strengths and vulnerabilities. To individuate, you must confront what you've avoided, face conflicts you've previously ignored, and speak the truths you've habitually silenced. Through these honest confrontations, you reclaim fragments of yourself long abandoned in the pursuit of superficial harmony. So consider this deeply now. How long can you sustain this quiet existence before your silence overwhelms your spirit completely? How much of your authentic self are you willing to sacrifice just to avoid temporary discomfort? And what could your life become if, just once, you chose to bravely step forward, look conflict directly in the eyes, and speak the truths your heart has always held? Remember, silence may have felt comforting once, but your soul knows better. Real strength lies not in avoiding life's necessary battles, but in your willingness to face them, openly, clearly, and authentically. Only then can you begin to heal the quiet wounds silence has inflicted, reclaiming the freedom and peace that genuinely belong to you. Every time you remain silent in the face of injustice done to you, something quietly heartbreaking occurs within your soul. It's subtle, so quiet you hardly notice it at first, but deeply transformative. When you choose silence, you're not merely giving up your voice, you're relinquishing your claim to your own life. Bit by bit, moment by moment, silence steals away your sense of ownership, leaving you feeling like an outsider to your own story. Think of your life as a stage. You sit quietly in the audience, watching yourself move through each scene, unable to truly influence the outcome. You observe your experiences unfolding, silently accepting roles you never wanted to play, agreeing to scripts written by others. But how long can you continue as merely a passive observer, When did your life become something to witness rather than something to fully experience? And more importantly, how much longer can you tolerate this disconnection from your authentic self? Each time you silence your truth to avoid pain or discomfort, imagine placing another brick upon an invisible wall. It starts as a subtle boundary, almost comforting in its quiet protection, gradually rising higher, brick by silent brick, until one day you find yourself trapped within the fortress you've built. You intended it to keep out hurt, but now it keeps out everything: joy, connection, passion, life itself. With each suppressed word, each avoided confrontation, you're isolating yourself behind layers of self-imposed silence, cutting off access to the rich, vibrant life you secretly long for. Pause for a moment and ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you genuinely felt alive, fully present in your own experience? When did you last express your truth openly, without fear of rejection or judgment? If you struggle to remember, consider what this might mean. Perhaps you've forgotten how it feels to be truly you. Free and whole, living life not from behind a shield, but from your heart's deepest authenticity. This realization can be uncomfortable, even painful. But discomfort can be a powerful teacher, a clear sign that something fundamental within you needs to shift. What if this discomfort isn't meant to be numbed or ignored, but embraced as an invitation to reclaim yourself, to step forward and take ownership of your life again? You might worry that speaking up means inviting conflict or rejection. You may fear that asserting your truth risks upsetting relationships or disturbing your carefully maintained peace. Yet, what sort of peace is built upon silence and denial? Can a harmony sustained by suppression ever be genuine or lasting? More importantly, is sacrificing your authenticity truly a price you're willing to pay for this illusion of tranquility? Here's the hidden truth. When you avoid standing up for yourself, you inadvertently teach others that your voice isn't valuable. Your silence becomes permission, allowing unfairness, disrespect, and hurt to continue unchecked. And slowly, day by day, your own life begins to slip through your fingers, defined and controlled by others rather than by your true self. But there is another way. The wall you've quietly constructed isn't permanent. It can be dismantled one brick at a time. Imagine the liberation you'd feel if you began removing these barriers, if you started speaking the words you've held inside, expressing truths you've buried, and embracing conflicts you feared. What possibilities might open up to you if, instead of retreating into silence, you stepped boldly into your own voice? Consider how empowering it might feel to say, clearly, calmly, and without hesitation, "This is who I am, this is what I feel, and I have the right to express it." Imagine reclaiming your place, not as a spectator passively observing life, but as an active participant shaping your own narrative. This is the essence of freedom: authentic, unburdened, unapologetic. So now, ask yourself the question you've quietly avoided for far too long. How much longer are you willing to continue as merely a spectator in your own life? How much of yourself are you prepared to lose to the false safety of silence? The truth is simple yet profound. The life you desire, the life you were born to live, waits just beyond the walls you've built with your silence. And every moment offers you the opportunity to remove another brick, to reclaim your voice, your space, and your dignity. Your silence may feel familiar, even safe, but it's a deceptive comfort. True strength lies not in your ability to suppress your truth, but in your courage to reveal it. True peace emerges not from avoiding conflict, but from embracing it authentically, knowing you have the right and responsibility to speak up, to be heard, to fully exist. Ask yourself again, deeply and honestly, how much longer will you remain silent, hidden behind the walls you've built? Because the moment you finally choose to speak, to act, to reclaim your authentic voice, you won't just break free. You'll finally begin living the life you've always deserved. Silence has always been a choice, but what if next time you chose differently? What if, instead of swallowing your truth, you gave it a voice just once? Imagine the freedom, the relief, the clarity you might find in finally speaking out. Could it be that the very thing you've been seeking all along lies hidden behind the courage of your own words? You've spent years quietly accepting things you never truly agreed to, carrying burdens that were never yours to bear. You've built walls around yourself, brick by silent brick, believing this was your protection. But perhaps true protection lies not in staying silent, but in reclaiming your voice. Perhaps strength comes not from hiding your pain, but from speaking it clearly, honestly, and unapologetically. So take a moment now, right here in this quiet space, and ask yourself honestly, how different might your life become if you chose to be seen and heard for who you truly are? What doors might open? What connections might deepen if you stopped hiding your feelings behind silence? The truth is, your voice matters. Your feelings, your beliefs, your experiences, they matter. When you hold them back, you don't just deny yourself the right to express, you deny the world the chance to truly understand and connect with you. Isn't it time you allowed yourself to step forward, fully present in your own story? If any part of what you have heard resonates with you today, take a gentle step toward clarity. Right now, in this moment, consider writing down your thoughts, your reflections, your emotions here in the comments. Something powerful happens when you give words to the silence you've held inside. You begin to see yourself more clearly. You begin to reconnect with parts of yourself you've lost touch with over time. And if you feel ready to continue further along this journey of self-discovery, gently click subscribe. Not because you must, but because you deserve to explore more deeply who you are beneath the silence you've carried. Together we can move forward, quietly, honestly, courageously, because your true voice has waited long enough.